three things. The first one is that the biggest selling point of yours are the ideas that you carry with everything that you do. So people are going to buy your ideas, more of your ideas, not the offer itself. So keep that in mind to talk about it and to portray that as well. The second thing, it's the DMs, being proactive, coming to people, not always trying to sell things, but just talking to people. Depending on the context, to where you're getting the contact from. If they've seen your posts, left a comment, viewed your profile, maybe you're capturing them from somebody else's content. Always talk to people. This is something that's fundamental. And then the third thing, not being afraid to stand out. We do have a lot of the things that we do feel or we thought about, but we were not brave enough to say it out loud because we felt that it may offend someone, disturb someone, or some sort of like that. I'm not saying that you have to be disrespectful, throw hate or whatever.
Before we dive into today's episode, please hit that subscribe button. Your support helps us grow and inspire more people on their journeys. Thank you. Hello, Julius. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to the show.
Hello, Thomas. Thank you for having me.
So, Julius, for those who don't know you, can you please introduce yourself?
Of course. So I've been doing marketing, sales, and content for the last 8 years. So I would consider myself knowing a thing or two about marketing. But apart of that, I am heavily into sports. I'm currently preparing for my first triathlon. So I would say those are the two main things you should know about me.
Before we discuss the second one, I like actually your title on LinkedIn, which is
Okay.
CMO, but I don't think it's Chief Marketing Officer, or is it?
No, it's actually not. It's Chief Martian Officer. It's, like a little fun name that I chose for myself.
What made you to choose this?
So Martian thing, it's like my identity. I do have actually a tattoo on my leg because when I was a little kid, I was always in my head. I was always, thinking, I was always wondering, I was always dreaming, I was always thinking big because I had a lot of ideas and I've done a lot of different things. So I've kind of, took this mindset and I took that little Julius with myself into everything else that I've done in my life. So I've kind of embraced like my identity and who I am. So being Martian for me means that I'm thinking out of this world, that I do have ideas bigger than the earth we live in, and I just allow myself to explore things and just to be creative, to find new solutions because the Martian itself, the person Martian, that guy, he's in, the big outdoor space. So that's exactly what it means.
I like it. I like the mindset. And also, I'm sure that we'll discuss it in more detail, like the LinkedIn and branding. In my opinion, it's a clever tagline because when I see that, I'm like, oh, wow, wait, what does it mean? It's different. It stands out. And, people always try to be different, stand out, build your brand. And when it's something like this, it's creative. It makes you think. I think that's the perfect example.
Thank you.
And you said marketing, but if I remember correctly, you actually started in a different field, which was videography, if I'm not mistaken. So can you tell us briefly your journey? How did you start? Where did you actually start? And then the progression into where you are now?
Of course, that's a loaded question. But to keep it super simple, clear, and short for you, I was aiming to become a football player, but at 15, 16 years old, I kind of let go of that idea that I'll become a football player one day. And my dad, who's also a head of marketing at one company he's working in, he mentioned to me that, look, this thing that you can, do with a camera, pictures, videos, maybe this could be something, your next big thing. So I kind of, took that seriously and I was really curious about it. So I learned a lot. I practiced a lot. I did a lot of free work and I enjoyed it. And I think I remember when I got my first gig, which was, I thought, for free. And at the end of the day, they, paid me, I think like $50. So, but like it felt to me like it was, I don't know, 5 million.
I wish there were more clients like that when you don't expect payment and they actually give you something.
Yeah, so being, a 15-year-old, it was like a light bulb moment to me that, wait a minute, you can actually make money while doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I picked up on freelancing quite early and I started getting projects. I got new clients through recommendations. Since I'm from a small city, from a small town in Lithuania, I was I was just, in between the town where I used to live and, the bigger cities in Lithuania. So life got busier. And once I graduated, I took that skill with myself and got into paid advertising.
Mhm.
So I was doing video ads while I was a creative strategist, and we were doing not just content, but we were making sure that the content we produce, it creates clicks, it creates conversion at the end of the day. And we took, the whole process from the photo shooting, videos, choosing, actors, renting out gear, like all of those kind of things, to the post production. So that was the phase. And then I kind of, lost myself in that because at the end of the day, it got super repetitive. I
Hmm.
worked a lot and I think I was working like 12, 14-hour days. And I remember when I got my first salary, which was like 600 euros per month, I thought that I could buy the whole world. Like, I mean, it was just even bigger, mindset shift for me. So I kept on working. I kept on getting, more freelance clients. I kept on getting more opportunities. And like I mentioned, I kind of, lost myself in it a little bit because I kind of didn't see myself doing it the same thing for a while. And I kind of felt a block in myself that this is not maybe exactly something how I want to go with marketing, sales, and content. So that's why my next step was personal branding. And LinkedIn is basically the main thing that I'm focusing on as well. I've been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years, something like that. And this is something I've been doing ever since. Of course, there are, some expansions that happened pretty recently in the last year or so, but that's, like kind of the trajectory that I went through.
Yeah, and when you say personal branding, did you basically got the idea throughout doing the videos in advertisement, etc., or did someone like recommend you, oh, build your brand, or how did you get the idea in the first place?
So LinkedIn as a concept came to me when my dad said, like, look, there's one platform called LinkedIn. Like, you should check it out. Like, he didn't do anything himself, but like he said, like, you should check this out. You should do something with it. And I was like, okay, that's interesting because I know that I'm kind of an advocate for the platform, but I really like the idea of combining that creative side of creating content but also with the professional side of things where you can focus a little bit more on the business, because it's the platform, social media platform for the business. So I like that dynamic a lot. And that's why I went more into it. And that's why I stayed, in this industry, well, industry platform for such a long time as well.
It's really interesting that you said that your dad recommended that to you. I feel like I've never heard anyone like their parents actually telling them about the platform. So it's pretty cool that your dad knew and he gave you such good advice.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I
It just
agree.
makes me wonder why did he start building the brand? Or it will be pretty cool if your dad actually was building his brand there as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure actually. Yeah.
Tell him it's never late to start. He can always, start again.
For sure.
How was it then the beginnings on the platform? Was it for you like a trial and error? Did you have some kind of plan?
I actually had a few different freelance clients, but then I got an opportunity to co-found a brand new business. And the first 4 months, we didn't get any traction because I understood that I understand how to create content, how to do things what's related to marketing efforts, but I was really bad at that building business and running a business. So that took some time to maybe relearn some things, how the things are actually working. And then after those initial 4 months, the pace picked up super, super fast. I mean, since we're talking about the times where AI didn't exist, where LinkedIn as the platform itself was a really wild west and you didn't have a lot of active creators out there as well, I think it was a perfect place, perfect time to be on the platform. And it was enough for you to just, be there. And clients, they came to you themselves. Of course, like I'm just, making this as a super, simple picture. Of course, it took, the strategy, the knowledge and everything, but like it was way easier than what it is right now. That's what I'm trying to say. And it evolved along the way. Like I've got a lot of interesting highlights. I've got some pretty massive wins as well, big clients, some public speaking opportunities at LinkedIn office in Singapore, clients in the States, clients in Asia, South Korea. Like it was a lot of good stuff that was happening through all of those 4 years.
Sorry to interrupt, but something comes to my mind because I remember you got it listed on your profile, and something I was about to ask you, if I'm not mistaken, there was some kind of content that got in front of the eyes of a Nigerian prime minister or something like that. So,
Ha!
can you tell us more?
Yeah.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah, I actually had a client whose also name is Julius. He's Nigerian and he's a doctor, like incredible person, incredible human being, incredible specialist. And he was about to launch a clinic, a new business in Nigeria because he's an immigrant and he was living in the States. He basically did achieve a lot of the things in life in his career and he wanted, to do something bigger and he wanted to create an impact. So we had content campaigns, we had all of the system, everything. I think we had a year, no, we had half of the year campaign of communication to build up to the launch. And then that week, once we launched with all of the content and everything, it just blew up. I think we got like 1.5 million impressions on our content in a week.
That's
We
crazy.
got,
Yeah.
recognitions from like incredible, crazy people. One of them being, Prime Minister of Nigeria as well. Personally reaching out to that guy, and it just went incredibly beyond of our expectations. But I think it happened because, we've done so much work before that. We built a reputation, we built an expectation. We got a lot of, the right people in our audience already because we grew from several thousand followers to, I think at that time it was 35 something thousand. And then, it blew up again and it was just like massive compound effect.
That's cool, and I'm glad that you mention it, like the work behind the scenes and all the build up, because sometimes I think people might think or assume that you just post and algorithm favors you or you are lucky, but
I wish.
yeah, exactly. People will be surprised how much work there is behind the scenes, how long it takes to prepare and develop. So maybe like one out of millions when there is like a viral post or something, but the reality is that there's actually a lot of work behind it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure.
I apologize, I interrupted you before. So if you remember, you can continue. So sorry for the interruption.
No problem. That's a good interruption that you've made. So, like you've mentioned, got a lot of good proof of concept, got a lot of, wins along the way, but then the things significantly changed in the last couple of years. With AI automation, a lot of new people coming into the platform, the market itself, like how people do make buying decisions and the behavioral part significantly changed. So you just had to change your business itself too, because either way you're going to be left behind or you catch up, with everybody else. So it got busier, but the interesting thing is that at the end of the day, a few foundational things, what matters the most, it didn't change. Like people still love stories. People more than ever love humanity, like the human touch. Third of all, people, they just love buying, but they don't love being sold to. So that trust factor is, more than ever
Yeah.
important as well. So there are, some fundamentals that I think they won't ever change, but there are so many different details that you have to be aware of, especially with AI, with tools, automations, and everything. And I would say we're having a really interesting moment in the industry right now where I would say half of the year ago, if you had AI in all of your communication, you would have been, some sort of the profile who stands out right now. People, coming back and saying, like, trust me, this is, human stuff. It's just, yeah, we use AI to cut corners, where you can, but at the end of the day, it's person's work, so a lot of interesting things happening. So yeah.
Where do you think it's going to evolve? Like the LinkedIn, whether it's with AI or how it's evolved over time that you've been on the platform. Have you got like any predictions, or what do you think?
I think that AI agents and automation is just going to evolve and it's going to be a part of the things that we do. It's just inevitable. I mean, and it's a good thing. Like you don't have to fear it, but you have to understand like how to utilize it in your own unique case in your situation. Because I think at the end of the day, what we do still lack, we do lack an education on what we do actually need, what's possible, and where we do actually want to go with it. So, that clear gap. So we do not understand that gap. And then at the end of the day, you get overwhelmed and you do not understand like how to properly use things that you have. So I think we're in this era right now, and the human touch, the people who are going to be controlling and working behind these tools and these processes that are going to improve their workflows and everything, they're going to be, the most successful entrepreneurs out there because they'll be able to understand, how to make AI more human and where to run on AI and where you need to still put the person inside the process. So I think, those dynamics where, in terms of feel, you should do what, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like it. And good reminder for the people who might think, we are going to be replaced by AI or everything is going to become the same. But in the end, it's about the person who's actually behind the tool. And also don't forget that it's actually you and your personality what's going to stand out. So AI can like help replace some things, make it easier, but at the same time, don't
Yeah,
forget that it's you what is actually unique and different than other people. So don't forget. Those are great points.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Speaking of AI, are you actually someone who's been always interested in AI? Or maybe you are interested because you see how important it is, or what is actually your take in general on AI?
I think at the beginning, like all of us, we had this kind of, confusion, like what you should do with all of this. Like, should you be afraid? Should you be in a hurry? Should you be doing, something else? I think those are the different phases that we're going through as well, something that I've mentioned previously too. And we got kind of through that phase already. And right now we're in this figuring out type of stage, myself included too, because like already stuff, but things are evolving and changing so fast. So you just try to separate yourself from the noise and from the things that do make sense to you, to what you're building and to what you're looking, for. And I think in the near half of the year, maybe, at least in what I see, we'll get into this new phase with more maturity in the field. I mean, understanding and having more answers to the questions and meaning, how the AI is being built and what are the mechanics of AI integration in everyday life. So that's the way how I see it.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, to sum up, I think it's essential for you to understand, like, not the AI, but your needs and where you are and where you're going and what's the gap. So, how to fill that gap and what needs to be done.
I think that's a great point because seeing how much, I don't know, tools, content with AI and everything there is out there, it honestly feels sometimes overwhelming trying to catch up, trying to try everything, which becomes impossible, especially knowing how
Oh yeah.
much it's evolving and going to be out there. So it was a great point. Like, focus what actually helps you, what's useful for you, or what it's like in your field, because it's just
Yeah,
impossible to do everything, and it makes you
sure.
even more confused. Yeah, yeah. So it was a good point.
For sure, for sure.
Before, Julius, we spoke about clients, and when you got your first clients, and I remember that one of your recent posts is actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 3 points when you try to get your first clients. So my question actually was, what would be your advice for people that struggle to get either first clients or clients in general?
On LinkedIn, or just, if you take a look
Yes,
at the whole picture?
let's focus on LinkedIn.
Everything is so simple and so difficult at the same time. Because at the beginning, because you start from the basics, along the way, you catch up on a lot of, fancy, interesting, shortcut type of solutions, things, and whatsoever. You get lost or maybe confused and you get back to basics again. So whenever something's not working, I always remind myself to get back to the basics. So it doesn't matter if you're looking for the first client, for the third client, for the 10th client, as long as you're doing the basics, you'll be good. And those basics are three things. So having clear profile that defines what do you do for who, the content who clearly communicates to that type of person and communicates about the offer from hundreds of different angles, how you do it and how you make things work. And the third one, talking about the same thing, your offer to the ideal, prospects, and how you do things for them, how you could help them in the DMs, and do that daily. That's it.
Yeah.
Of course, there are details, there are, specifics, there are, the algorithm, different stuff like that. Of course, there's a lot of data and stuff to it, but does it actually matter that much? Do you really need to care about it? I don't think so.
I think it's often people want those special things, secrets, that algorithm stuff. And I think if they looked at their like fundamentals and basics, do they actually have those clear profiles and the content? To me, it feels like people want rather shortcuts than sort out the basic stuff and just keep going for a while, stay consistent. But yeah, totally agreed. Great stuff.
Yeah.
A quick note before we continue. One of the things I've realized from hosting this podcast is that I spend a lot of time thinking about the conversations long after they end. That's one of the reasons I started Unproduced, a solo podcast where I share ideas, lessons, observations, and questions I'm still figuring out myself. If you'd like to check it out, you'll find the link in the description. Now, back to the episode. Then, Julius, I'm sure that you got the DMs like this or people asked you. I don't want to ask for the advice how to go viral, but the advice how to build your brand on LinkedIn. You've been showing up for some time. I'm sure that you got DMs like this as well, and people ask, so how to grow your brand on LinkedIn? What would be like your top advice or recommendations?
Again, it depends on who I'm giving this advice to, because I really like the context. Because with context, you can be really precise with the things you're giving to them. But in general, I would say three things. The first one is that the biggest selling point of yours are the ideas that you carry with everything that you do. So people are going to buy your ideas, more of your ideas, not the offer itself. So keep that in mind to talk about it and to, portray that as well. The second thing, it's the DMs. I mean, being proactive, coming to people, not always trying to sell things, but just, talking to people. I mean, depending on the context to where you're getting the contact from, if they've seen your posts, left a comment, left a like, viewed your profile, maybe you're capturing them from somebody else's content, always talk to people. Like, this is something that's fundamental, and this is something that it's just inevitable if you really want to stand out and if you really want to build an expectation or some sort of,
Relationship.
yeah, exactly, relationship with the others, because it's not only the facade that you're building, it's also, how do you behave with everything that's behind the scenes. And then the third thing, I would say, not being afraid to stand out. I mean, we do have a lot of the things that we do feel or we thought about, but we were not brave enough to say it out loud because we felt that it may offend someone, maybe it will disturb someone, or some sort of like that. I'm not saying that you have to be disrespectful, you have to, throw hate or whatever. Not at all. I'm just, saying that you have to say it out loud in terms of what you see, what you feel, and what you think it's right to say. And it means, in content, in profile, in messages, how you talk and how you share with people. Just being direct. I think being direct helps a lot. It just, make things so much faster.
Yeah, that is true. Especially in DMs, it comes back to what you said that sometimes, I don't know if people want to offer you or pitch something or just ask for something, you can see that they are going around the topic, but they don't ask that question or that they don't ask for it. So just if you don't pitch like in the first DM this terrible message, but at the same time respect people's time and just are more friendly and don't waste time, I agree. And my favorite point was, of course, about standing out. I feel like people often look for secrets or, I don't know, because there is competition out there, you've got AI, but ultimately find what's unique to you, embrace it, and stand out. I think people will be surprised that if you find that thing that is unique about yourself that maybe people might not be brave enough to share, as you really well said. There will be many people who would relate with that and think that actually it's brave that you
Yeah.
showed up with that. So I like those points.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
I noticed, Julius, that you haven't posted much recently on LinkedIn. And I read, I believe in your newsletter, that you are building things in the background or focusing on other stuff. So, what is it that you are focusing on? I'm sure that it's triathlon, as you mentioned before, but some other stuff.
Yeah. Right now, we are actually building a company group. So, meaning that we're building a few companies at the same time that are directly related to each other, depending, on the services that we do and with what kind of people we work with as well. So that's exactly why I'm a little bit less active. And I really want to be back on the content when I do have a full picture of how I do want to be perceived and how do I want to, explain all of the things that are happening in my ideas. Maybe it's just, an excuse in some sort of way. But at the same time, I do feel it like that because a lot of the things are happening. So I'm slowly going to be making a comeback as well, triathlon as well. I'm putting a lot of dedication and effort into it as well, exercising and training almost daily. And all of that is taking a lot of my time and effort. So I really want to make sure with the things that I do, I'm doing them 100%. So I'll be making a comeback. It's just perhaps taking a bit longer than I've expected.
It's also a good teaser if, as you're not posting much now, then when you start posting, it's going to be big quality content. Which reminds me,
I hope so.
some of the videos that you shared recently, really like the quality. So I think it comes down to quality over quantity, and also your experience in videography speaks for itself.
Thank you so much.
If you are willing to say, I understand you are building behind the scenes, but are you willing or even want to say more about those companies that you are building? Of course, understand if not, if it's still behind the scenes, but if you want to tell us more.
Yeah, yeah, I'm okay with sharing that.
So, what is it that you are building? Give us like a teaser or expectations.
So, long story short, my client became my business partner. And I worked with this guy last year. He is bringing sales, IT, and AI background. And we've done some work. We've done some really good job together. We really connected on a lot of different levels, both personal, professional, and we found a lot of similarities with each other as well. And we actually, at the end of that collaboration, we sat down and say, like, we need to do something together. Like, we just don't know it yet, but something needs to happen. And, we said that, okay, like, the idea itself sounds nice, but let's think through it logically. Like, let's take some proper time. So we took a month or so just to think about everything and to plan it out, to talk about it, to create a lot of different scenarios and something. And we came up with this idea that it's existing today, and we're actually combining what he's good at with the things that I'm good at. So, to be even more specific, we're building two companies today. We're building one company that's providing custom AI solutions for real estate and finance companies. And then the second part, which is something that I've done previously, is lead gen and brand and authority building for real estate and finance companies. So with one side, we help companies to spend money, and with the other to make money, which is something we joke about. We do have a lot of different clients in the different niches as well, because of the network, because of the traction, because of everything. But down the road, we really want to stick to these two industries because of the experience, both his and mine, and because of the proof of concept, the way we work, and just, that everything and all of the signs that we're getting that it makes sense. So that's the short version. Of course, there is a lot more to it because we're thinking of maybe even perhaps having a lot of other potential routes from all of this business too, but we're still deciding. So I'll leave a small mystery here, and we'll see down the road. But right now, it works like that.
And these two companies are Interpro and Interconsulting, right?
Yeah, correct.
It's really good when you manage to find a person like that you complement each other's skills, and at the same time you fit each other, like when it comes to personalities, that you are able, to work together. So which was really good. I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but how did you actually meet each other? Was it actually over LinkedIn or outside?
Yeah, he was a client of mine.
Oh yeah, sorry, I think you said that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Happy
Yeah,
to hear
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And of course,
yeah.
excited to see more. I've seen, Julius, that you post on LinkedIn both in English and in your native language. So I'm just curious, have you got like maybe clients from, whether it's international or from your country or audience, or what actually makes you to post in both languages? Because many of us are maybe not native speakers, but when I speak with people, they usually don't post in their native language. But still, I find it cool. Although I cannot understand, I find it cool. So what's your reasoning behind this?
Of course. So I began building my business around international audience, and I always had clients, like 95% of the clients elsewhere outside of Lithuania. And I didn't even think about the idea that I want to do something here locally in Lithuania, but that changed in the last year or so because I got some really good leads here locally in Lithuania. We've got some really nice case studies with them, and I thought that maybe I just miss out on this opportunity as well, you know? Like I was trying to search for answers. What should I do with it? But then, I got more and more data that it makes sense for me to also look at what's possible to do here in Lithuanian market. And that's why you can see me sometimes posting some content in Lithuanian because the economy itself in Lithuania is growing significantly. It's one of the fastest growing economies in Europe. So there is a market, and LinkedIn as a platform, it's still kind of, early new if you compare, to everybody else, but it's gaining faster and faster traction. So it's really nice to implement something that's been working, for example, with clients in the other markets, in the other industries, and to do it, here locally with your people. So, I mean, I would say those are the main reasons why.
I think that is smart because at the same time, I believe that you shared it from Favicon, like a rank, that you can actually become that person that comes to other people's mind, that you occupy the space you are, or the one that is on
Hmm.
top in that market. So I think it's smart. But then it makes me also wonder, how do you balance like to post in this language for international audience to the local one? If it's like I don't know, 50-50, or depending, I don't know, what's your strategy behind it?
Yeah, so I think there's no unique strategy behind that, I'll be honest with you. Because, for example, two main things that determine whether to post in Lithuanian or not depends on who I'm talking to currently. Meaning, if I do have really important conversations with Lithuanians right now, or I do have, somebody that I do want to approach, so meaning that they'll look into my profile and they'll see some stuff. And once you see, something in your own language,
Yeah,
you're accepting that a little bit differently too. So I think it depends on what kind of phase and what kind of goals do I have that moments with everything that I do, because we do have campaigns that we do launch and that we do, confirm inside, with the team. So I think those are the main few factors that determine what do I do with my content and languages.
yeah. That's interesting, and I like what you said, like that, depending on the language in which it's written, you kind of perceive it differently, because it's the same for me that when I see something written in my native language and in English, because obviously it's different. It's hard to describe, but for people whom native language is not English, I'm sure that they know what we mean as well. So it makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, Julius, I could be asking you like many questions, but I am really curious about the triathlon that we discussed before. What actually made you to try to do this?
I think I am doing exactly what the little Julius always wanted to do, to become an athlete. And I'm just doing it in my own setup, in my own way. I still get to do races. I still get to do the preparation. I still get to do, travels and go, for the races elsewhere. I've done, some running, some high rocks, the hybrid fitness racing in Italy, in Poland, in a few other countries as well. I think it's just, a perfect way for me to complete who I am. And another part to it is that it really helps me to put myself into this like disciplined life and disciplined routine, because you have so little time to do everything. So you really want to make sure that everything gets, your utmost attention to what you're doing. I know it really helps me to plan things and just, to dedicate myself for the things that do serve me. I think that's the main answer.
That's something that I enjoyed reading about in your newsletter. By the way, we hope there will be more editions soon. When you
Yes.
spoke about the importance of the routines, and you shared, for example, more about yours, because for me, it's always, I try to look at it and learn what I can improve about my routine. And also, when it comes, for example, to the triathlon or the sports in general, for me, it's like a part of my life, and that I find it that it helps me to switch off from work or from being creative. So I'm sure that you can relate, like with the triathlon, that it's like not doing the work, not creating content, etc., but switch off and do your best. I don't know whether it's running or exercise or some other sport. So to me, it's understandable. And as I said, I'll be looking forward to reading more in the newsletter.
Absolutely, absolutely. You'll see one edition quite soon.
Mm-hmm. And Julius, just to be aware of time, by the end of the recording, I like to ask kind of lighter questions. I guess you kind of answered it now, but what are some of your hobbies or things that you like to do in your free time?
So I think sports, it's what's taking most of my time. I'm really curious person, so I'm really into geography. I'm really into history.
Oh,
I'm really
really? I love geography
into.
as well. I'm so happy to hear that.
I do have a really strange fact about myself that I know all of the flags of the whole countries in the world.
Oh, really?
And that's
Oh, wow,
facts.
that's
You
so
can test
cool.
me on that. Like I'm open
One
because
question.
this is really weird flex.
What flag has a gun on it?
Mozambique.
Oh my god, he's really good.
Yeah.
Can you name one flag that is not, that has like a irregular shape, not like a regular rectangle, but different shape?
Nepal?
Oh, nice. Let me think about the third one. I don't know which one, but you are good. I agree, and I like it.
So it's yeah, it's a weird flex, and I do have these like small things
Mhm.
about myself. So these are just to name a few, because like instead of, for example, reading social media or something, I just really like to do like this weird type of stuff, to feed my curiosity.
Yeah, but I like it, and I think it's actually fun and cool. It's something what we discussed before when it comes to LinkedIn and standing out. Now, when you said this, it's actually for me something like, oh, this is cool, and something that makes you remember people. So I like it. That was a great point.
Nice, nice, nice.
Do you read books? And if so, have you got any recommendations?
I'm more of a podcast guy, to be honest with you. I do occasionally read, but if I had to give you one book recommendation, I've read a lot of like, popular books that everybody know.
You can even say like anything obvious because still, I think there might be people who might not know that one. So if it's like something that's popular,
I think the recent book that I've read, The Diary of CEO of Stephen Bartlett, I think it was really, really nice one because it was a good blend between the personal life, the point of view, the mindset, the business, the tactics, the insights. So I liked really that because it was really experience based. So I think that could be a good recommendation for me.
and then as you mentioned it, I have to ask you about favorite podcasts as well.
The podcast. I do have a lot that I like listening to. I do listen to a few specific Lithuanian ones, but I do really like the Diary of CEO. I do really like Chris Williamson's podcast. I do really like sometimes to listen to what is his name? This neuroscience guy, Huberman.
Huberman. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there are, a lot of people that I just, choose depending on the day and what I'm feeling. So it's quite diverse.
And another interesting thing is that you said you like to listen to Lithuanian podcasts. It's again something that I can relate to, that I like to listen to podcasts in my native language as well. So
Okay.
that when then someone asks you like in English what's your favorite podcast, I'm like, I would love to tell you, but you're not going to understand. So it's something very relatable.
Nice, 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 nice.
We Julius, we discussed it, but can you please summarize where people can find you, follow you, and promote any of your services?
Of course. So you can find me on Instagram, Julius Martian. You can find me on LinkedIn, Julius Bielauskas. You can also find me on, well, soon to be found, our new website, interpro.lt. A lot of new stuff coming up. We're actually planning a few other social media channels to launch as well. In the meantime, in terms of what do we do, you can reach out and I'll tell you. But to be more direct, so like I mentioned, two things. We do build custom AI solutions for large enterprise companies, mostly in real estate and finance. And we do also help them with branding, LinkedIn lead gen, and personal branding. So those are the two main areas of focus. Of course, we do work with other industries too, retail, law, marketing agencies as well, but those are the two primary ones that we're focusing.
Mhm. I will, as always, add links to the show notes. And you teased already a few things. You mentioned it now, but are there any goals that you want to or plan to achieve in upcoming weeks, months, or anything that audience can be excited about?
Yeah, I really want to relaunch my own content on LinkedIn. We're going to be heavily going with the team on LinkedIn with the content because we're actually at the final stages of finalizing the strategy with everybody, which is actually happening tomorrow, to be exact with you. We do also want to have more content on YouTube, but it's a little bit more further in the future. And we really want to launch website, our brand new website, because I think it's really, really important for us to have that one in the next couple of weeks or so.
Yeah. And to continue with the newsletter, right?
Oh yeah, that's included in the content.
Oh, yeah, that is true. And I like the ambition and the goals. And don't forget about the triathlon. Is it by the end of this month?
It's 28th of June, so 3 weeks or something like that.
Do you feel you are ready for a good performance?
I think I'm 90% ready. Like, I do need to adjust some of the things. I do really need to hop on bicycle a little bit more in these last few couple of weeks, and I think I'll be good. Yeah.
And is it actually something that you want to do like one time challenge to test yourself, or do you plan to do it more regularly?
Yeah, I do want to do more regularly. I
Mhm.
do want to do a lot more of the other sports and a lot of the other stuff. I'm not sure if I really want to talk about it out loud, but there are, some pretty
Okay.
big physical challenges that I do want to do for myself. So once it's done, you'll see it.
I hope you'll post it on LinkedIn to keep us posted.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I like this type of content and stuff. Then, Julius, very last question. Is there anything I should have asked you and did not, or anything you would like to leave the audience with?
I don't think so. Maybe one thing that I would like to leave an audience with, it's just that consume less, but create more, especially where we're living in the world where the consumption is through the roof and everybody's, fighting for our attention. So keep that attention more to yourself and try to preserve that energy. I think that's one thing I can leave you with.
It's a good one for me as well to remember because there is more and there is also more low quality content, which is not, not a good outcome.
Exactly.
But yeah, it
Exactly.
was a great message to finish with. Julius, want to say a big thank you. It was great to meet you. I really enjoyed it. It was great to not only hear your story, get some great ideas and takeaways for building a brand, business, etc., but also enjoyed discussing about sports, exercise, and those interesting things like geography, etc. So thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed it. We'll be excited to keep following and seeing your goals, ambitions, and how you progress. And yep, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody who'll be listening to this.
Thanks for listening to Produced by with Tomen. Check the show notes for all the links, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your feedback. Speak soon.